Hey, good day, YouTube. Welcome back. Today, I want to share with you. I'm going to go through. I picked up a great box, a monster box, as you can see here. Give you a little bit of a short look of the 7980 O-Pee-Chee set. Whole bunch, probably about 2,000 or so commons, semi-stars, rookies, maybe a couple Hall of Famers in there. We'll see. Not expecting the big whale there, the Gretzky rookie in there, as you can see in the back. I got my own. That's a KSA 5. But for today's video, I'm just going to share with you the sorting that I'm going to do. Is I'm just going to kind of pick through the box. And really what I want to do is I just want to kind of sort them out. Oh, there goes my Dale Harchuk, and just sort with you some of the cards I got from that set and see if I can sort them into the different piles between commons and so on. So one of the things I want to do is sort them by goalies. You can see here's across here, I'm trying to do goalies. Some of them are more semi-stars, kind of pile stars, semi-stars. Canadians, I'll probably do them Canadians, Leafs, Bruins. Some of the, maybe original 6 teams stacked separately. Hall of Famers, team cards, and rookies here. So I'm happy to share with you what I got here. So here's a Rick Chartraw, Nhl. And I'm referring here to my checklist from Hockey DB to see who's and which cards are considered the rookies from this year or not. Nhl is not. Here's a Stan Jonathan. Put that in, start in a Bruins pile here. Actually, for now, I'll sort those Bruins out later. We'll just put these into the commons pile for now. Gordy Roberts, 265. That's a rookie card there. Put him into the rookie pile and so on. So I like some of these, old Oilers. Robbie Fatorik. I don't think that Harchuk's going to stay here. Vic Stanowski, Mike Modio, 268. So these are all considered common cards. You can see what else we got here. Bob Mano, Dan Maloney. There's a Leaf. Al Sims. Al Sims, I believe, is... oh, no, that's not his rookie card. Here's a couple of Pierre Mondus. I'll put that in the Habs pile. Maybe I'll sort some of these other ones out later after instead of slowing down the video here. Yeah, so I found this lot on, like I said, on eBay from a seller who was looking to move a large chunk of, of his old excess vintage. I love going through this stuff. What I will do is sort them out, and I will, pick away, squirrel away the stuff that I like to keep. Any extras, you will find me listing these. Usually, I've been in the habit of listing these on my eBay store. However, I am in the process of winding that store down with the advent of eBay's many changes that they've made here recently, particularly around managed payments and a lot of the hassle that's coming out of that. To be honest, it's just becoming harder and harder to make it even worthwhile from a financial perspective. I'm not looking to get rich on anything here, but my goodness, it seems like most of what I do is I'm listing cards for the benefit of eBay so that they can make their fees, and so I'm in the process of migrating off the eBay platform. And so one of the couple of avenues that I think I will kind of transition to is hoping to maybe here's a nice Bunny LaRock. I love that card. Probably look to maybe sell my cards either maybe by the stack sale kind of format on Twitter, maybe even a YouTube live auction. I've seen a couple of guys doing that of baseball cards, which seem to fit this kind of genre of card. These are kind of general vintage kind of mid-grade kind of commons kind of cards. Might fit there. I'd be curious to see or curious to hear, I guess, from anybody who is watching this video if you'd have an interest in that. Kind of a maybe a weekly live auction, if you will, on YouTube. We all hang out, can kind of chat around the cards as well, and then one by one in little lots, in all likelihood, team lots, rookie lots, as you see here. Maybe work through through that. Here's Bill Barber. This is my favorite player growing up for a period of time. Here's Reggie Leach, Terry O'Reilly from the Big Bad Bruins. Put those over here for now. So yeah, so I'd be interested in hearing if you had any thoughts on if that would be of any interest to you or not. 336. Here's Joel Quenneville. If I'm just going to check here, if I'm not mistaken, I think, yeah, sure enough, that's his rookie card. Obviously Stanley Cup winning coach, doing great things in Florida there too. What else we got here? Here's Brad Park. I'm going to put the Larry Robinson in the semi-star pile there too. Al Smith, a couple goalies. Bill Lockhead, Hutchinson, Bill Riley. One of the first black players to play in the NHL. Not the first, of course, but one of the early kind of legends, if you will, or pioneers is probably the better word, in that area. Al Hangsglaven, 307. For some reason, it seems to me this might be, and sure enough, it is. Yeah, this is his. Here's another rookie card here. So again, you got your, basically common guys, but nonetheless, it is a rookie. And a couple of Canucks here. I love those flying V's. I know these come with a little bit of a different kind of point of view on them. Some love them, some hate them. I don't know. To me, they just kind of represent that era so well. And after the video, I'll probably sort through, and I'll probably end up listing kind of lots of the Canadian teams as well. So, and then work my way down to kind of base commons, and then send those out for auctions. I know this is a very popular set. It's certainly a hard set to find in good condition, and these wouldn't be a great condition, but they're also not horrible. These would be kind of mid-grade, I would say. There's a nice Colorado Rockies jersey of Doug Favela. Obviously, he was came over to the Oilers probably, if I recall, probably as virtue of the kind of the expansion draft process in all likelihood. Pierre Plante, so some Nordiques, some of those original Nordiques. Bob Murdoch, ex-coach as well, I think coach of the year if I'm not mistaken with the Winnipeg Jets. Moffat, so many duplicates as you can see here through here. Love those old Colorado Rockies jerseys. Those are great. Nick Fattiu, 286. Not a rookie there, but Kevin McCarthy is. And so here's 3 Kevin McCarthy rookies right there. He was actually a pretty decent player back in the day, given the role he played. Working through here, here's John Garrett, obviously TV sportscaster, goaltender back in the day, Hartford Whalers. This picture here looks to be from his WHA days as a New England Whaler, I guess, New England or Hartford Whaler, just before they came over with the, with the NHL expansion back in 1979, 1980. So moving on, hey, when you get a minute, and if you have a minute, and you like these kind of old pick throughs, if you wouldn't mind giving the channel a thumbs up and a like, and if this content that you see in my channel here seems to interest you, a sub would help too, and just be interesting to share with a little bit of a community. See if we can grow a little bit of a community here of maybe sharing some of the same sort of interests that I have in terms of these cards. I have, kind of diverse interests when it comes to the hobby. Kind of grew up in the 70s, so obviously I have an affinity for these kind of cards from this kind of era. I think what I do seem to like more than anything, though, is these big kind of bulk lots of cards and sorting through them. Picking out, see what treasures I can find in there. Like I said, I like to pocket away kind of the odd card here and there that I want to keep for myself. Here's Eddie Stanowski. Number 327. Look at that. Look at that pose. Growing up, I was a goalie too, and so I always get a kick of these 70s cards because the equipment, I think I've said this before, but it's funny, you look at the equipment for these are the the highest caliber goaltending in the world at the time, in the highest hockey league in the world, and the equipment that he's using is not too different than probably 10-year-old me was wearing at the time. So it's come a long way since then. But I always found the Stan Weir card interesting. If you look at the Stan Weir card, I'd always do a double take when I see it because at first glance it could kind of make me think it's the Gretzky rookie from time to time. I've always kind of found that to be kind of one of those cards that kind of grabs my attention. So we got Hartford Whalers. There's another Joel Quenneville rookie there. You know, you got some guys from the Nordics. And what we'll see in this set too is some carryover of fellows that used to play in the WHA. And John Smirk has been considered a rookie card as well. That came over by virtue of the amalgamation. There's Ron Lowe. Love that card, love that pose, love that mask. Look at that, eh? That's a beauty. Technically with the Nordiques, but this was back when he was playing with the Washington Capitals, is what the image is there from there. Brad Gassoff, Bruce Boudreau, NHL coach, back when he was a mid-level Leafs player. Here's another Capitals goalie, Gary Innes. Long history both in the NHL and also WHA goalie as well. Brian Engblom, current broadcaster, Montreal Canadian. Pete Lopresti, from his North Stars days, he would have come over as part of the first goaltending duo, I guess, if you will, with the Edmonton Oilers when they broke in. So he would have been a guy that would have had a chance to play with Wayne Gretzky there at a time. I'm sure there's a number of them over time that could write a book or two, I'm sure. Jack McElhargy, Willie Lindstrom. Chuck Luska, who, for the life of me, I don't recall this player at all back from that day, but clearly this is going to be his rookie card, so I'll put him in the rookie pile. Paul Baxter, same thing. Man, this guy was a tough SOB back in the day. He was one of those players that I hated to have my team play against, but I respected him. He was tough as nails. Really good player in that genre, or in that kind of style of play. Terry Richardson, Gold Hartford Whalers, New England Whalers kind of style jersey. Another goalie. So yeah, guys, what I'll do is as I work through these, as I work through the sorting of these, look at these multiples here. You're gonna find me making these cards available. Like I said, I'm in a bit of a mode right now to kind of get these sorted and get them all listed out in lots. So you watch for them on my eBay store, BT Sports Cards, and you can see what comes available in the next few weeks. And so here's an example of Willie Plett card. You can see this one's beaten up a lot more than the average ones here. So there's a broad range that I found. But you know what? In that Mario Lessard, what is he, like 4'0". If you compare him to guys today like maybe Ben Bishop or Hellebuck, or these guys that are 6'5" and whatever, this is hilarious. No wonder the goals were no wonder Gretzky and those guys could score 70, 80 goals in a year, given the size of those goalies. But yeah, I'll be making some of these available over time. Here's a couple beaten up checklists I'll put on the side here. Here's Rogie Vashon near the end of his career. Started with the Canadiens, obviously made his name with the Los Angeles Kings, and at the tail end of his time, he was a member of the Detroit Red Wings at this time. And we'll keep scrolling through what we got here. I think I've already gone through these ones. Yeah, so this is the common pile here. Moving on. So a lot of great little finds. Every once in a while you kind of back your way into a card or two that you kind of either forgot even existed, or has a little bit of value. Like here's Rick Lee. If you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, you remember Rick Lee. Vancouver fan Rick Lee. He was obviously a coach in the NHL, a little bit of time as a head coach, but probably I know him best as an assistant coach. Really kind of trusted kind of lieutenant of Pat Quinn and some of the teams that Pat Quinn coached. Here's Michel Dion with the Nordiques, no mask. As you work through some of the cards from the 70s and the 80s, you'll know that Michel Dion had some pretty wicked masks back in the day. The longer kind of Mike Liute style kind of mask is one that I recall, certainly. So here's some, again, Oilers, Capitals, Bruins. Here's another Stanowski, or a couple Stanowskis, I guess. This was at the time the launch of the Winnipeg Jets. So of course, Jules Drouin and a few of these other guys that kind of, by this time these guys were at the tail end of their careers, and they were their filler for these expansion teams. Drouin would have had a career back with certainly the Minnesota North Stars, if I recall, and I don't recall who else he might have played for back then, but remember those days quite clearly, being a guy that kind of grew up in Winnipeg myself. Here's Colin Campbell, NHL executive. Did a stint with the Oilers by virtue of the, again, the expansion draft there. Obviously, Department of Player Safety he's kind of probably most known for, and now he's kind of in an executive role there in the NHL league offices. I'm sure he's glad right these days that he wasn't involved in the Mark Scheifele controversial hit and decision there. That one seemed to kind of rattle everybody, depending on what side of the fence you're on. Here's some more lows. And some of these are in top sleeves, penny sleeves, and you can see that they're a little bit higher quality cards too that are in there. So that's good to see. Flipping through here, what else do I got here? Yeah, it's a bunch of multiples. So curious what your thoughts too. I don't know how how people like to kind of buy these cards, and so I'm of a little bit of a thought of maybe listing these in kind of team lots from this year out in eBay. But I do recognize that sometimes there's set collectors and sometimes just random kind of lots with assorted teams, assorted cards. Sometimes appeals to so the set collector community as well. But these cards are becoming harder and harder to find as time goes on and on and on. And just if you had any thoughts in terms of what would be a good approach to kind of make these available, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. Here's a Don Lawrence card, which is a rookie card for this common kind of style player. Here's another Luska, a couple of them here. Here's Dave Semenko. So if you remember Dave Semenko, this is his rookie card. Gretzky's #1 protector. He was a tough dude, but to his credit, rest in peace for Semenko. He could also play the game, and he didn't have hands of stone, but he also didn't have hands of gold. But he did his job, and he did his job well. When he was on the ice, Wayne Gretzky had certainly a ton of room to kind of be able to move around and not have to worry about any monkey business here. Here's another Baxter as well. Speaking of tough customers, a lot of respect for Dave Semenko as time goes on. Growing up as a Winnipeg Jets fan at the time, did not like Dave Semenko, did not like the Edmonton Oilers, but over time, full respect for what they accomplished. Here's Peter Sullivan from the Winnipeg Jets. Here's a neat little example, again, is what I said about these WHA transitions. By the time these cards were produced, the new teams hadn't really even played in the NHL. So here's a good example of the Legacy Jets uniform from the WHA, which has proven to be really, really popular here even in current days, as they've kind of done a retro, the new version of the Jets have done a retro version of this jersey in their heritage games and stuff, and they've complete with the red pants and stuff. And I can tell you that these jerseys sell like crazy here in Winnipeg to fans as the new kind of knockoffs of the classic jerseys there. Here's how the Jets looked when they entered the NHL. They tweaked their uniforms, and here's Barry Melrose, longtime sportscaster, Stanley Cup coach in terms of taking the Los Angeles Kings there. I think they ended up losing to Montreal, if I recall. But so as you work through here, you find from time to time, you come up on some names that, like I said, you kind of forgot. Here's a classic 7980 airbrush picture. Peter Marsh, I'm going to say this is probably his rookie card. I'm going to check that just while I have this up here. But middling kind of player, started off with the Jets, had spent some time as well with Chicago Blackhawks as well. And so sure enough, this is Marsh's rookie card. Here's Tommy Bergman, card number 148, one of the earliest Swedish players to come overseas and play in the NHL. They kind of take it for granted now today, but back then these guys were trailblazers. So moving on, got to look at it again. Here's Rene Robert, some guys coming allocated to the Colorado Rockies team as well, as we kind of came through the late 70s there. Here's a Hab, Yvonne Labrie, real key integral part of those 70s Habs teams and all those cup winning teams. A good solid third, fourth line player. Hound Dog Kelly, Walt Tkachuk. If you know Keith Tkachuk, his nickname that was given to him was Walt. No relation from what I understand, but I know the backstory there is I think Eddie Olczyk, when Tkachuk joined the Winnipeg Jets as a rookie, kind of anointed him with the nickname Walt, and I think it's stuck ever since. Here's Brad Park. We'll put him in the semi-star category. Great defenseman from the 70s. Dan Bouchard, one of the well-known goalies from this era as well. Known as a little bit of a awkward fellow, a little bit of a unique kind of personality as well, but solid goalie, a guy that's kind of had his suitcase packed and even kind of moved around a fair bit. Here's a neat card from that era. I love that mask. Look at that. Wayne Stevenson, he would have just gone over to the Capitals at this time, but love that card and love that mask. This card is beaten up, it's stained, but love it. I'm sure somebody else will as well when we make this one available. Moving on, Bruins. We got some Bruins and Blackhawks players. Paul Woods is also a Maple Leaf player at the time. Here's Bob Sauvé from the Buffalo Sabres. He would have been part of one of the earlier goaltending tandems back in the day with Don Edwards at the Buffalo Sabres there. They were pretty good, rock solid kind of duo. Here's Tom Gorence from the Flyers. And, Tom Gorence wasn't really anything of a special player per se. This is his rookie card though, so we'll put him in the rookie pile. Thomas Gradin, solid Vancouver player. He would have been one of their better players back in this era. These are kind of copies of his rookie card. We'll put him in the rookie pile. And we'll keep moving on. Here's some players from the Islanders. Bob Bourne, of course. This was the heyday of the Islanders, just about the heyday of the Islanders Stanley Cup run as they're just about to kind of take off. Building out there. Here's another neat kind of card from a photo perspective. Jim Bedard, again, nothing really special about Jim Bedard, but you could see O-Pee-Chee kind of starting to dabble with some different kind of images and different kind of styles around the pictures they were taking and putting on the cards. What would have been unique a little bit about this player as well is if you look at his mask, back then the helmet with the cage, this would have been kind of newer kind of style. You see it in the Bob Sauvé one before, but those kind of helmets and with the cage and stuff was kind of prevalent then, but it was there was varying degrees of it. You can see here's a Michel Place, another one with it, and this one would have had a lot more of the space in between the bars. I know some guys ended up getting hit with pucks as they would kind of sometimes take shots to the head, if you will, and a few guys who kind of got caught up a little bit as a result of that. Here's Denny Potvin, first team All-Star, stud defenseman, future Stanley Cup champion. Dave Dryden, brother of Quen, also a goalie. Put him in the goalie pile. And even this is back when the Atlanta Flames were here, so this is just before the final days of the Atlanta Flames, before they became the Calgary Flames. Here's Brian Sutter, who I'll put back in that pile here. Here's Cheevers, Jerry Cheevers. We all know Jerry Cheevers. Too bad he didn't have his mask fully on, but that mask of his would have had a whole bunch of black marks checked off for all the times he got hit in the face mask with shots back in the day. Here's Steve Schutt, classic Montreal Canadian forward, solid kind of secondary support player. Here's Denny Herron as he was about to go to the Canadiens as a goalie from the Penguins. There's Reggie again, Van Boxmeer, Butch Goring. Very underrated key component to the Islanders Stanley Cup run. This is with him with the Kings. This would have been before he would have got traded. Key deadline trade acquisition as the Islanders went on to start their cup run here. So we get a picture of a card from Goring earlier in his career before he was moved on. Carrying on, we got some Blackhawks cards. Here's, speaking of suitcases, here's Gary Smith. I think his nickname was Suitcase Smith. This guy had played for a number of hockey teams, NHL teams, WHA teams in his time. I flipped to the back of the card to see if they had the running stats line, but I guess in this case they didn't have enough room to do all of that here. But at this time in his career, he would have had 534 games played at that time with over just about 30,000 minutes of game time. Here's Don Edwards. I was speaking about him earlier in terms of working with Bob Sauvé. Maybe I'll put that as a small lot, the two Sabres goalies from that time. John Davidson, now the Recently let go from the Rangers organization, now back with Columbus as the president of hockey operations. Another neat picture. I loved his mask back then. I love it again now. Look at that, eh? Look at, very similar to the Ron Lowe kind of style. Classic Rangers mask. Another Hab here, Doug Jarvis, Iron Man streak, very strong defensive player. And up until recently, I believe, till this year, if I'm not mistaken, I think Keith Yandel beat him out for the most consecutive games played. Mike Milbury, everybody's favorite American broadcaster. Parise. Here's a Leaf. Here's a notable player, Daryl Sittler. A couple of them here. Hall of Famer. He'll go into that pile with the other Hall of Fame players. Jim Rutherford, NHL general manager, goalie, back as well. Randy Carlyle, Stanley Cup winning coach, and Norris Trophy winner. This is with him with the Pittsburgh Penguins, where he would eventually become, shortly after this, maybe a few years after this now, he'd eventually find his way back to the Winnipeg Jets. He was around 84, so here's a couple more of those Davidsons. Bolderev and Bully. So we're probably about halfway through the box. And we're going to keep moving on here with the next little section. Here's in more Boudreaux's, Blaine Stoughton, Gary Innes, the goalie. So we're now starting to hit some of this part of this lot where there is some duplicates kind of being seen here. Here's that Luska rookie. Here's a Baxter, and it's all beaten up. I'll put it in here, but I'll cull those out after the video. Here's another Richardson goalie, left-handed goalie. Still don't see a lot of them today. Here's that miniature Mario Lessard. Dennis Hextall. That Hextall family is a famous hockey family. Brian Hextall, Dennis Hextall. Ron Hextall is connected to this family now. Hextall being the new general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Leah Hextall, his niece, who is a hockey broadcaster. And here's Stan Mikita. Look at that. One of his last cards, probably his last card. Long-standing Hall of Fame classic Chicago Blackhawks player. Being a Blackhawks fan myself growing up, high appreciation for what he brought to his career. Keep moving through here. I got Ted Bully, Dick Redmond. Here's Ned Amansky, Hall of Fame player. There's 4 or 5 of these cards here. And he's proven to be popular. I've sold a few of his cards, and again, they're not going for a ton of money, but more than an average common, that's for sure. Here's Guy Lapointe, famous Hall of Fame Canadiens defenseman. Here's the goalie we haven't seen yet, Joe Meloche. Really good, solid goalie from the 70s and 80s. Here he is with the Minnesota North Stars. Randy Pierce. Here's the Cam Connor from the Oilers. Looks like another Photoshop card there. Bill Barber, who we put in that semi-star category, I think, back then. Phil Russell, Bobby Schmotz, recently departed Bobby Schmotz, rest in peace. John Tonelli. There's that Marsh rookie again that we looked at earlier. Tommy Bergman again. Moving on. More duplicates. Chris Maneri. Here's Lanny McDonald. That card's in actually pretty decent shape. It's got a little bit of a bend on the corner bend there, but another Hall of Famer, another classic semi. I'll put him in the semi-star category here for now. Paul Holmgren. Many people forget Paul Holmgren was a pretty darn good player back in his time at that time in that era. Here's some again, another Oilers, Brett Kelligan. Here's Michel Dion once again, goalie card there from the Nordics. Some Jets, some Whalers. Gordy Lane. Here's Quenville again, a couple duplicates here of Quenville. It's actually in pretty good shape as well. Those were rookies there. Yvonne Labrie. This is a decent card of him. If you look back in time, I'm going to say maybe 70. I can't remember the time. It might be 78, 79, 77, 78. There's a pretty wicked looking card of him with some pretty solid 70s hair flow rocking at the time. And with that mustache and everything, you look like a classic 70s kind of guy. Here's Dave Keon for those that go back. You know, this would be at the tail end of his career here again. But Hall of Famer, and it still has a little bit of a following out there in terms of fan base. A little bit before my time. He was there. I was around at that time, but again, he would have been a guy that would have been at the tail end of his career by the time I would have got to know about him. A couple more Kevin McCarthy's. Jimmy Jones from the Leafs. Here's a Bouchard that's kind of beaten up. Looks like we're getting back to some cards we've seen before. Another John Garrett. And I think obviously the sorting is a little bit backwards here too, so sorry for the flips here, guys, back and forth. Al Smith, look at that. Here's another example of some of those different kind of masks I was talking about. Imagine getting hit in the face with one of those things back in the day. Holy, I don't know how they got through that. Here's a good look at, no-name player, if you will, Dave Inkpen. No disrespect, but pretty much a common from a card perspective. But here's a nice little look at the New England Whalers jersey from the WHA days. This is not a Hartford Whalers jersey, and this is not an NHL jersey. It's a picture coming from the WHA time. But you can kind of get a sense of how the jerseys, how the crests have kind of changed over time. Glennie, Wolf Paymont, again, more Brett Callahan. We'll go back to the box. See what else we got. Again, it's a 396 card set. Clearly the Gretzky is the major card in this set. Other cards of note include the Bobby Hall card, the Gordie Howe card, the team cards, logo cards for the new NHL teams, the Jets, Whalers, and the Oilers. Are certainly, collectible, still are collectible. The checklist, if you can find it in good shape, also has some value to it as well. And as you can see from this lot, that's not what this lot is kind of constituted by. But nonetheless, I really enjoy going through these older lots. Here's Bob Miller. He was a good rookie, good rookie back in the day. And seeing kind of what little treasures we might find in here. So here's another Habs, Pierre Mondieu. I think an underrated Montreal player from their cup winning time. You look back and think back in the day from everything that they were able to accomplish. They were deep. I don't know that you could build a team that deep these days, given everything with salary cap restrictions and and all that. Really hard to kind of ever see that duplicated. Here's a whack of Gradine rookies again. John Tonelli. Tonelli was a key contributor to those Islanders Cup winning teams. Here's a couple of studs from those Islander teams. There's Brian Trottier, record breaker, and then the Mike Bossy record breaker as well. I'm going to put those ones aside. Here's under the Hall of Fame category, and here's some of the team cards. This one's a bit beaten up, a Penguins card, but here's an Islanders card before they broke loose and started to go on their run. Sorry for the out of focus. I don't know why my camera's struggling with that, but maybe if I set it back a little bit, that'll help. But yeah, so they've got a couple versions of those here. And we'll set those aside in the team lot. And again, I'll probably make those available to you all through an auction on the eBay store. Here's Marcel Dion, Hall of Fame player. Very underrated player, in my opinion. If you look at his career stats, if you're new to the vintage game, do yourself a favor and look up some of the stats from that era. And even today, if you look at Marcel Dion's stats, you can put his up against a lot of great players in the NHL. Here's Dave Tiger Williams, one of the earliest and most impactful enforcers of the day. Man, this guy was quite the character. He could take a punch. He's taken more than his fair share, but he's also could throw a punch as well. Marty Howe. Here's another look at the New England Whalers WHA jersey, but of course, son of Gordie Howe, brother to Mark Howe. They had their time there to play together. Gordy, Mark, and Marty in this era here with the Hartford Whalers when they came into the league. And I know at the time, you know, Gordy was in his early 50s. And he was hanging on because this was very important to him to be able to do that. So here's All-Star Carter Gillies. Dave the Hammer Schultz. Speaking of tough guys and goons, nobody tougher than Schultz, that's for sure. A little bit off his rocker too, I think, in terms of his wick. He has short wick, and if you got on the wrong side of him, boy, he would lose it very quickly. Chris Maneri, number 151. Seems to me this isn't his rookie card. I think he was the year before. Stackhouse, more Holmgren, Don Maloney. Here's another version, a couple versions of those Dions. Here's another Bossy, another Trottier, couple Trottiers. So, you know, here's a nice little run of cards here in the, you know, in the set here that you like to kind of pull out and look through. Here's Gary Bromley. Again, nice look at that classic 70s Canucks jersey. Al Hill rookie card. Here's another version of the Bromley. Andre Moose Dupont. Again, you know, hat tip to the you know, to the tough guys of the day. He would definitely form part of that. Greg Carroll, this is a rookie card there for him. Harold Snepps, if you're familiar with him in the day, and he kind of had a long career, obviously starting with most well known with Vancouver. I believe he started with St. Louis, but even his rookie card today even holds value. Phil Muir was another goalie from back in this time of the year. These cards are actually pretty crisp, pretty nice shape. Back when he was with the Flyers. So you can see here I got quite the stack going of goalie cards from the 1979-80 series. So again, if you have a minute, if you want to share it with me in the comments, any thoughts around your thoughts on the cards from this set and this series, I'd love to hear anybody's views on that. And even if you had any suggestions about how to how to best kind of make these available to the collecting community, I'd be open to hearing that as well. I happen to have, I had a full complete set of the 79-80 that I pack pulled myself back in the day. That's how I got the Gretzky there. It was pack pulled. And given the recent increases in cards over the last year or so, given a result of COVID, I decided to send that Gretzky in to get it graded. And if you look back in my couple of videos that I have made so far, one of them is a KSA sub review. And in there, you'll see that that's where I sent the Gretzky in and got my very first batch of cards ever graded. I had a 75 card order, the KSA. And that video shows you the results of those submissions. Those cards are all, those ones that are left anyways, they've been selling, they've been popular. But those that I have remaining still remain on my eBay store, BT Sports Cards. Happy to go check it out if that kind of stuff interests you. Give it a look. Here's another Sittler. I don't know if any of you remember his 10-point night. I remember watching that 10-point night game myself as a younger lad. It happened to be Hockey Night in Canada against the Boston Bruins, so it was a lot of eyeballs on that game and a lot of visibility to what happened that night. 10-point game. For those of you who may not be familiar, Blair Stewart, Quebec Nordics, and I'm taking a minute to check here because I'm not sure. I don't think this is his rookie card. It's not. It's a common. Probably about, I don't know, maybe another 4 or 5 stacks of these little mini stacks I'm sharing here left in the video. We're about 38 minutes in. Here's Brad Park again. Put him back in the kind of the Hall of Famer category there. And Bouchard, another goalie. I'll try to move through here a little bit more pace. So as you can see here, lots of duplicates, lots of doubles, which is great to kind of make sure that I can make some of these available to many different people, many different collectors if there's interest out there. Here's that Robinson All-Star card again. The Gorence is a rookie. The Thomas Gradine is a rookie. Getting to know these cards a little bit better now, this stage in the process. Danny Garrett. Danny Garrett was a good player from back in that day, part of the Sabres, and then had a little bit of a run as well with the Red Wings as well, as he closed out his career. Moving on, I got some more of the Lanny McDonald's. Here we go. Jean Potvin, brother of Dennis Potvin, back another defenseman as well. They had a chance to play together there for a while. There's another Quenville, Atlanta Flames team card beaten up, but again, these things get more and more rare over time. I'll take those in any condition at this point. It's just good to preserve the history of all that. Billy Smith. Here's a much nicer version of that Flames card there. Here's one. Here's some of the game-winning goal leaders, the kind of league leaders, team leaders stuff. Here's a card. Guy Lafleur, Mike Bossy, Brian Trottier, and others, the game-winning goal leaders. Here's a multiple versions of this card. Here's a record breaker, Mike Bossy, second-year card. There's another Trottier in that regard as well. So I'm going to put those back in that in this area for now. I'll probably clean that up a little bit later. What else we got here? More commons, more commons, more commons. Hey, if I were to list those commons going back, I asked again, but share with me your thoughts. Do you think it would appeal to more collectors if I listed them in team lots? Do you think it would be more helpful if they were just listed as part of just common miscellaneous group of cards here for guys that are maybe trying to collect the sets itself? Always looking for advice. I'm trying to figure out and learn the hobby too as I'm kind of re-engaging with it. Here's a group of, Ron Loeb cards together here. So this goalie stack is growing and growing, which is, again, pretty appealing, seeing I got a goalie history in my background as well. Bruce Boudreau, Hamilton, Blaine Stoughton. Geez, Blaine Stoughton scored 50 goals. Don't sleep on Blaine Stoughton in terms of his contribution to the history of the NHL record book. Another couple Engbloms. I like Brian Engblom as a announcer. He's good at that. Dave DeBall, Pete Lepresti, goalie. Jerry Hart. Hartford Whalers. There's some more of those Luskas. We've seen him now a few times. So, I may now dominate the world market of Chuck Luska rookie cards, I think, right now. Maybe I got a monopoly. Maybe I can set my price. Here's two more Semenkos. Probably one of the better value cards I think I'm finding out of here is probably those Semenkos, I think. Give or take, the odd Bossy and Lafleur that come out of here. But as you can see, this lot has been picked through. All the high value cards clearly have been kind of cherry picked out of here. So this is kind of, the what's left portion of it. Jim Warner, 384, another guy that I don't recall at all from that time period. Taking a look here to see, and sure enough, it's his rookie card. He could have been one of these guys that was one and done. I don't remember this fellow at all, but we'll put him aside. Dave Hunter, some more Nordiques, some more Mini-Me, Mario Lassards. Ed Kia, Bob Stevenson is another one that's not really ringing a bell for me, but here's his rookie card. We're getting close, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, I guess. We're getting close to the end here. We'll kind of keep grinding through here. Oh boy, look at that. Speaking of dominating the market here, here's Bob Stevenson cards as well, rookie cards. Hextalls. There's Lars Schubert. I don't think we've seen his card yet. He was a real stalwart in the Winnipeg Jets defense, and rumor would have it, as they were about to, even when he was playing in the WHA, the Canadians really tried really hard to buy him from the WHA Jets to put him into that Stanley Cup winning defense that they had in Montreal. The Jets, of course, recognizing his value, did not go forward with that. Lars Eric kind of passed early in life, rest in peace, and but he's well regarded and well respected, certainly in Winnipeg, for his caliber of play and frankly just the caliber of person he was. He was a really solid guy. The little general, they called him. Number 4. Here's that Davidson again. And Wilson, Mike Milbury again. Some Blackhawks, Greg Fox, Rick Sealing, Rick LaPointe. Here's some more Rutherfords. So we'll pull him out. Carlisle, Gordy Roberts, Bill Platt. A lot of duplication here. Bill Flett, Cowboy Bill Flett. If you, again, remember any of the kind of the classic nicknames from the 70s there. Rich Leduc, boy, man, I got a lot more Rich Leducs than I ever thought I'd ever have in my hands at any one moment. Dave Hutchinson, number 302. Just checking. No, that's not his rookie card. I think he was 77, 78, if I recall. There's Bill Riley once again. One of the early minority players in the league. Some more Canucks, Nordiques. Rick Lee. Here's back to the goalies. Here's Michel Dion. Put him back in there. Barry Dean. And now coming up to the final stack here. So if you've hung in this long, appreciate you watching the video. It's probably amongst the longest ones that I've done. 46, 47 minutes here so far. Appreciate you hanging in there. We're now kind of at the tail end of things, and you can see some heavier duplication seems to be in this lot here. So here's some more Saturday night Eddie Stanowski. He was famous for kind of, you know, crapping the bed during the week, but then it'd be Hockey Night in Canada Saturday night, and the guy would stand on his head, and hence the name Saturday Night Eddie Stanowski. Here's Ron Plum, Hartford Whalers. Another good example of those WHA jerseys. This one, it says now with Whalers. I don't know if you can quite see it. The card itself is actually blurry as well, but this is San Diego. San Diego had a team in the WHA, San Diego Gulls. And this is, I guess, a picture of him playing for that team back in the late 70s there. So interesting little card there. Rick Hampton, now with the Los Angeles Kings. Interesting about this jersey, this is his jersey from when he played for the Cleveland Barons, which is a team that went defunct. And then those players got redistributed as well amongst various teams. So here's Rick Hampton from the Cleveland Barons jersey. Interesting. There's that Stan Weir again. From a distance, it looks pretty similar. Blair, Stewart, and now the final two cards to finish up the Dan Maloney, and then, of course, the Marcel Dion that we've seen before. So that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hey, if you hopefully that gives you some little distraction here to watch today on a Saturday morning is that when I'm recording this video, and maybe I'll close the image out here with a nice little look at my the treasure of my personal collection. This would be the 1979-1980 Wayne Gretzky rookie card. I did pull this card from a pack back in the day. Hang on to it raw up until 2021, and I sent it in February, March of 2021, and it has come back as a KSA graded 5, so an EX condition. This one's not going anywhere. We will see in time whether I send this in for PSA grading or not. If I do find myself sending another a submission into PSA, I may be convinced to crack this out and send that into PSA. Now that I got a benchmark, a bench line, in terms of knowing where this grade would come in, in all likelihood, this would probably be, and more often than not, it would probably more likely come in at about a 4. It would be my guess, a 3 or a 4 PSA, probably a 4. I was actually, pleasantly impressed by KSA in terms of the quality of their grading standard. Their holders leave a lot to be desired. They are cheaply made, I would say, compared to those PSA holders, but their grading I thought was respectable. So with that, I'm going to leave the video here today, guys. Thank you so much for your watching, and like I said, any subs, any thumbs up, any support for the channel just to give it a little bit more awareness would be great. I'd love to be able to start adding a little bit more content, and like I said, maybe even introducing some live YouTube auctions down the line. Hit me up with the comments if you have anything feedback to share about the video or the channel itself. Trying to learn, trying to get better, and I would love to hear from you to help me do that. All right, well, thanks. We'll talk to you guys again. I am out. Cheers.